Hi guys, this is Young Nguyen from Advanced Property Strategies and welcome to this week's podcast. I've got one of my superstar property clients, Craig Rigby. Hey mate, how are you going?
Great, how are you?
Good. Well, you are laughing at that description there.
Yeah.
Is it because you don't feel like a superstar, or is it because you're humble enough to realize that it shouldn't go to your head?
Got to stay grounded, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, look, that's the thing about property, mate, is it definitely keeps you grounded with the ups and downs and the changes of the market. And look, I'm really excited to be sharing your story to our clients today. Oftentimes people want to quit their jobs and do property full time. You've been doing property a fair bit in the last 5 to 10 years with some ups, some downs. And now you've definitely come to the dark side and doing land as opposed to just building houses or townhouses. And we may talk about that later. We may or may not talk about the war. We'll see. But having said that, you've recently finished a project and made 100K in 10 weeks for some people, which is absolutely phenomenal. I think it's definitely achievable. I've done this similar feat myself many times. And yeah, it's definitely something that is impressive. So yeah, welcome, mate. Thanks for coming. Yeah, very good. So, yeah, if you could just speak a little bit closer to the computer and a little bit louder. But yeah, do you want to just share with us, how you found the deal and yeah, a little bit about the deal itself?
Yeah, so this it's a cracking house, a cracking site in Ashgrove. It was one of my target sites that I'd sort of highlighted that I'd love to buy. I'd sent letters constantly for a couple of years, every 6 months or so. But that didn't work out. I didn't get it off market. It came to market via a real estate agent. So it's one of those listings that don't show the address and you know the house and it's like, oh no, I know that house. So you know exactly where it is and all the warts that go along with it. But so via realestate.com. So it's an example that you can still make money off a listing, I suppose. But yeah, so it's a great site. Already 2 lots, north facing, 809. It's a pre-47 house, but no restriction to remove the house. It's quite a characterful house, but layout wasn't ideal, I suppose, wasn't a classic sort of Queenslander. And yeah, so I got really excited when I saw that. But yeah.
Mate, as an accountant, you showing excitement means a lot to me. So I can tell you're actually quite excited now. You got a grin on your face. So that's good. For those who don't know.
Looking back at it, it's, yeah.
Looking at the place, obviously it's a reasonably nice house, but obviously you knocked that down. For those who don't know where Ashgrove is, that's approximately 8-9 Ks out from Brisbane CBD. Is that right?
Probably a little bit less, maybe 3 or 4. So yeah, it's quite close in a northwest pocket. It's mainly it's very limited development sort of stock. It's a lot of it's protected. So yeah, these are real gems, and there's getting fewer and fewer to find, and harder to find.
Yeah, and I like what you said before. I know that you didn't get the deal off market ideally, but I did like the fact that from our trainings and our courses that you were sending out letters. I know sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. I know some of the more current deals you've bought off letters as well, which is great. But yeah, it's just putting another iron in the fire. And like you said, when it came up, you knew exactly where it was and what the property was. And so you were on high alert of that property and you're very aware of it. And I think that's part of doing letters is it tunes your awareness of deals and what you're looking for and the opportunity, because a lot of the times you have to screen deals out, and essentially you knew this was already on 2 lots. You already screened that out and you already knew that the overlays were conducive to knocking the house down. Is that right?
Oh, definitely. Even to the point that you know the services. So this is a sort of a split street with a bit of a park in the middle. The water was over the other side of the road. So, you already knew that, the process you'd have to go through with servicing the second lot and the costs involved. So, like you sort of, say, it's all in the detail. So having that all up front and having the confidence then to go and make your best offer. Because realistically, this turned into a tender. It was only on the market for 7 days. They took private viewings, not even an open. Basically, after 7 days, they had 8 contracts.
Wow.
And mine wasn't the highest, but it was it was up there and it had the best conditions. So I think
Yeah.
when you have that confidence and that knowledge, you can really give it your best shot. I think I waived cooling off, and in the end I had to give a personal guarantee. So there was no way I was getting out of this contract. I didn't want to, so it didn't really make a difference.
Yeah, understood. So having said that, where did you get that confidence from? Obviously, before you came to me, you've had some good and not so good property experiences and going and, excuse my French, going balls and all into this deal with $1.13 million. What gave you that confidence, do you believe, through my trainings or through past experiences? Share with us how you got to that point.
Yeah, a bit both. Yeah, I suppose I've been developing for a while now, and the more experience you have, obviously the more knowledge you gather. But also, your course also around all the technical side of things. It's good to be reassured that what you are doing is what you should be doing from a services perspective, or a town planning, or a zoning, or that side of things. So it's a combination of both, but I think understanding the site's critical, especially when it's on market. It's a really hot property. You're going to have developers looking at this. You got owner occupiers who want to keep the house. You have owner occupiers who want to knock it down, build one, sell one. There's so many scenarios with this, and the audience was so large. So knowledge is definitely the key.
Yeah, that's right. And I think also the knowledge and ability, it's one thing to know, but also the ability to perform financially, right? So you were deal ready, and that's a thing that I talk about repeatedly, week in, week out, month in, month out, especially in the current marketplace where parts of the land market, especially with the home builders grant, is very, very hot. Not many people are deal ready, and they're going to potentially miss out on the timings of this opportunity. So how did you fund it? Did you fund it with cash? Did you fund it with investors' money? Did you fund it with just your own serviceability? Just in general terms, I know it's a bit of a personal question, but
it's just existing bank finance. So basically, we have some bank funding that we've acquired over the years, and don't rock the boat with the banks, and just keep holding on to as much credit as you can. It was existing debt.
Good stuff. And what challenges did you experience along the way?
Yes, so I suppose the initial one is to what price do you put, do you pitch your offer at? That's always tough. You really like the deal. I've drooled over this site for so long, but you don't want to miss out. And I suppose that's one of the key learnings that I've got from your course is, you got to be prepared to walk away from the deal at a price. So yes. That's one thing I've really learned through you is, determine your price, stick to it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but you're giving it your best shot. I think previously I would have potentially gone higher. There was a precedence in the street maybe a couple of years before this that was at that similar level. So, I suppose the risk there that I would go higher, but the market was softer. This was still the price that I think you needed to pay. And like I said, I wasn't the highest bidder. So that gave me some reassurance that, in the end, that I got it for a fair price.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's not always about the price. I know that some people, it's just about the price. But if you make the finance terms attractive enough and give them enough certainty, i.e. with enough deposit, unconditional terms, personal guarantee, then I found that's helped me in numerous situations. Sometimes, otherwise, if the deal is a bit more risky, it's got more warts on it, then you may need to offer more, but offer longer terms to reduce that risk. So in terms of exiting the deal, being on 2 lots, it says here that you sold the blocks for a total of 1.38 million. So roughly about 675, roughly just a bit under just a bit under 700 each, actually. Yeah. So how was it exiting that deal? Was that relatively easy to do? And did you get the prices that you expected?
I suppose you go and you gauge real estate feedback on what you can get, and inevitably it always turns out a little bit less. But we got close. Like I was thinking 1.4-ish, 700 each. we had one block under contract for 700 to start with, while we were sort of waiting for settlement, but that didn't eventuate in the end, and yeah, we got a little bit less, but yeah, it you know, it worked out still. I think, you know, one thing you say is, you know, don't be greedy, you know, when you get a good offer. I think our first offer, a second offer was cash unconditional. So 25K, you sort of take that and run with it type of thing.
Yeah.
And I think too, like, as you know, different price points, there's fewer and fewer buyers
right.
able to do that level, and not able to, you know, get finance at that level as well. So
yeah. Oh, look, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things you will be exposed to is just finance, what people are able to get or not get. It's a buyer's pyramid where there's less buyers at the top paying more and more buyers paying at the bottom, because of affordability generally. So I think it is the case. And I think you learned some good lessons. I know that you bought some blocks of land and just sat on them, or just unable to get the prices off for the sake of 5 to 10 grand. Being able to get out of the deal. Because like you've said, and I'm kind of reading into what you've said, is, you know, once you sell one block, selling the second block usually becomes a lot easier because there's a social proof, there's a bit of demand there. And then the second block, people don't want to miss out. When there's 2 blocks for sale, people go, oh, you know, I'll wait and I'll pick one, the left one or the right one. Which one do I prefer? And when someone shows them one, then there's only one left. Oh, Jesus, if I don't get it, you know, another block land's not going to come out, right? So, but having said that, it's about moving the stock and becoming not too greedy to take top dollar. You know, I'm getting, for example, expressions of interest on my second stage of my land subdivision, and it's an old price list, and it's probably 5 to 10 grand less per block than what I'm prefer to take. But you know what? I'm just going to take. I've got 2 offers on the table at the list price for stage 2, and I'm just going to take the money. Why? Because bird in the hand is better than 2 in the bush. And I can put the prices up on the other blocks that are remaining and say, look, these are sold and these are the new prices. So it just creates social proof. And that is an emotional maturity as well. Sometimes you got to learn it the hard way, where you sat around and counting the clock and land tax is coming. And, you know, that sometimes is a good motivator, land tax, isn't it? So obviously, go for it.
Even in this case, you know, like the seller was an expert working overseas, and you know, this was in, you know, May leading up to, you know, before financial year end, and for me the desire was to delay the settlement, not just to avoid land tax, but also to get things, you know, all my ducks in a row to actually hit the ground running. But you know, he wasn't focused on that, so it was strange. If I was a seller, he seemed to be more focused on maybe clearing 1.1.
Yeah.
But then he got hit with land tax. So
that's right. That's right. And maybe he probably wasn't even thinking about it. I'll be honest with you. Some people, they don't even think about it until they go to settlement and go, well, here's $11,000 you got to pay, otherwise you won't settle. But mate, that's really not our problem. And you focus on the future. And he took the deal. So obviously we're interviewing you today, mate, because you've done my mentoring program and you've produced some really cool results, profitable results. So can I ask, you know, there are a lot of other programs and courses out there. Why did you choose to do mine?
Oh, look, I went to a lot of your sort of free, or, you know, the shorter sort of courses originally, just to suss things out, I suppose, as everyone does. And like, you know, I just think you have a great technical knowledge, both, you know, that really sort of I saw value in from an acquisition strategy perspective, town planning, zoning, that sort of stuff. I like the stuff you've done in your micro lots, definitely. And yeah, that sort of originally drew me to you, as well as being sort of like a really genuine person as well. I think, you know, your success is, you know, based on your student success. So, you know, it goes hand in hand that, you know, those, you know, technical sort of knowledge and being genuine really sort of drew me to you.
So it was the 180 square meter lots, mate. Was that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, that's right. You know, saw those on the bus trip and things like that. So, you know, like when you've been doing this a long time and you're trying to compete with everyone on splitters, then, you know, you've got to sort of look outside the box and look for different avenues or different strategies. And you know, you've been around a long time, and you know, you're focused on land, which is which drew me to you as well, I suppose, as opposed to some, you know, building or doing something else.
Yeah. And I know you laugh about the build, and I know the listeners don't know the full story. We're not going to go into it and bring up the past, but obviously you've had bad experiences with builders, as have I, right? So, and I say today that the only reasons I build generally today is to keep. And so whatever I keep, I'll build if necessary, you know, for multi-occupancy or mini boarding houses, multi-tenancies, cool things like that. But generally, I prefer not to build and leave that to some other people, and they can go through that themselves. So, yeah. So, how's life been, mate, since you haven't had to build a single house?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's good. It's excellent. You don't have to sort of sit on a project for 9 to 12 months and yeah, watch people not show up.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Just speak a little bit closer to the mic. But yeah, we were saying that watch people not show up. I think that's it. Part of it is finding the right builder. But having said that, is focusing on where the money is. I think that's the biggest thing in property that people miss. And there's a saying and people may get offended if I say this, but there's a saying, and I may have said it before, and I don't bring it up too much, is the saying goes, I don't want the property, I just want the money. Yeah, I don't want the property itself. I just want the money and what it can do for me. At the end of the day, you know, some people, they go to work and they say money's not important to me. But I say to them, you know what? You spend 40 hours of your week making money or going to work for money, and probably another 10 to 20 hours a week thinking about how much money you have or don't have. That's a lot of your life. So money is like air. When you've got it, you don't think about it. But when you don't have it, it can be the most important thing that you have. And for me, property is definitely a hobby that I've taken and turned into a business. And as a business, you want to make money. You want to get in, get out, get paid. So how much, this is another blunt question, Greg, how much money have you made or saved since doing my course? I know you've got a big project on that you've pitched at making close to 600-700K, not plus. But yeah, but before excluding that, how much money do you reckon have you made or saved since doing my course?
I suppose in this deal at Ashgrove, I think I definitely saved, at least 20 grand on, holding to my price. And other projects, up to 100 to 200. I think now, just from all the knowledge I've gathered over the last couple of years. So yeah, it's definitely worthwhile. Definitely paid for the course fees, that's for sure.
Many times over. No, that's it. And what kind of investors do you think would what kind of investors do you think would benefit from doing my course? Because obviously you're in the marketplace talking to other investors, other people doing programs as well. What kind of people would benefit from doing my course?
I think everyone can really. So I've been doing property for a while. I'm not I'm not an expert, that's for sure. But I think experienced people right down to people who've done nothing before. I think you teach the basics from the ground up. And then, you can show people how, with no knowledge and then also no funding, to basically create limitless amounts of wealth. So if you follow what you teach, then, the sky's the limit, really. The thing is to get people to do what you're teaching.
Yes, that is my challenge there, but that's my commitment. And sometimes my commitment for them is bigger than theirs, right? And whether it's a level of doubt or lack of belief. So do you really think that anybody can do it if they put their mind to it, based on what you've seen of what my teachings are and what you've been able to produce, and other people in the clients as well in the seminars?
And that's part of the benefit of the mentoring program, is the community aspect of it, and seeing different people from different walks of life. I've had some experience, like yourself, started off as a hobby and now growing into a business. But yeah, definitely people with no property knowledge, no financial backing can definitely create, masses of wealth with what you teach. I'm still, after 2 years with you, one thing I really like is, you don't care whether I do it or not, really. I take whatever I want to take, what you teach. So I've got so much more to actually put into practice. I've heard it all, but I haven't put it into practice. And you don't jump up and down and worry about that. You just, you try and direct people as best you can. And if they take the advice, they take the advice or the learnings. But yeah, I think the sky's the limit, really.
And look, at what I do find, and thanks for reassuring me about that and confirming that, what I do find is sometimes people believe it might be a bit too good to be true as well. You know, we're saying make 100 grand profit in 10 weeks. I remember when I started out in a job, mate, I was earning 25 grand a year, and my biggest income as a job wage earner was 42 grand a year. 42 grand a year. So this is 2.5 times that in 10 weeks, which is 2.5 months. So for people to get their head around that, for us, you and I, that's normal. That's okay. That's, a good 2.5 months work and leveraging money and using your brains. But for most people, I think it's a level of belief as well. And would you say that the more that you've applied and the more success you've had, say example for this deal, then the learnings and the belief in what I teach and yourself as well, more importantly, has increased dramatically?
Yeah, definitely. It's a stepping stone process. The more confidence you get, the more deals you get, the more exposure, like to all the other, students and stuff, and seeing their deals is really inspiring. So I think that really spurs you on to, not just be content to look at splitters. Like you can look for a splitter all day long and not find anything because everyone's looking for them.
Yeah.
But you branch out and you look at subdivisions and bigger subdivisions, and I think that's massively inspiring and a real sort of draw card for me.
Yeah, look, that's the thing I've had to accept, is that some people just need to be exposed to things for a year, 2 years, for a while before it really sinks in, that because they'll see other people like themselves in jobs, eventually leave jobs, make 200 grand, 500 grand. I suppose the next benchmark is clients making $1 million consistently every year. That's a completely different mindset shift, but at least we've got clients here making $500,000 consistently on a 12-month basis. And that's a really good benchmark for me. And it just shows that the stuff does work. I personally do it myself. I'm doing my own deals. So that enables me that intellectual clarity in the marketplace, because I'm battling the same council that you are, with the same challenges with the access restriction strips, mate. Minor works, major works. Mate, you think minor works is a challenge, mate. Major works, just try that, mate. Try that. That'll put some hairs on your chest. Yeah.
Wrinkles, mate.
Yeah. Oh, mate. Exactly, mate. Exactly. So you're lucky this webcam's quite small. But anyway, look, I really appreciate your time, mate. We're going to finish up there. Thanks again. And guys, this has been Craig Rigby showing you how he made your 100K profit in 10 weeks. The block was a splitter, already on 2 lots. That's how it was really quickly knocked down the house and sold 2 blocks of land. And the block was already on 2 titles. So that's how I was able to smash it out. I know we didn't really cover the deal, but Craig had some interesting stories anyway. So thanks again, mate. Thanks for your time, and catch you another time. Thanks for listening to today's episode, and I hope you really enjoyed it. For more information, I've got a cool report that you can have. It's called the 7 Rules Free Report. 7 rules for making money in today's property market. You can learn how everyday mums and dads can make money in today's property market. Maybe you can't find deals that stack up. Just discover my process for uncovering some cool bargains on demand that works in any big city. The secret to discovering and funding your next deal without borrowing from strangers, as well as a surprisingly easy way to bulletproof yourself against economic catastrophes. So definitely must know in today's economy. So just click the link below if you want that free report. This is Young Neil. Look forward to catching up with you next time.